Hello and welcome back to Reydar with me, Ryan Reyes. Today we have a very special guest, multifaceted artist and performer. They do cosplay, acting, directing, voice acting, all that good stuff. Andrea Agosto, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Excited to be here. Yeah, lots been going on. Just like excited to just kind of, appreciate the fruits of my labor.
For sure.
Yeah.
To start off, can I ask, where does the name Agosto come from?
Oh, the name Agosto comes from my father.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My family is Puerto Rican, and that's according to him. According to my father, just want to throw that out there. We're not like historians or whatever, but he says that our last name originally came from the Augustine monks in Italy. And I'm like, what was we doing in Italy? But according to like his theories, like, oh, maybe we stole the name and then like came, migrated to Puerto Rico. And now we've just have been Agostos since then. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is. But Ancestry does say I do have a little bit of DNA from that region. So maybe we didn't actually steal the name. I don't know.
My brother did one of those, I think a 23andMe once, and we found out that we had like Romany, like 6 generations back or something.
Oh my gosh.
And I found out that there's a story behind that apparently, because on my dad's side, there's a recessive gene where they get like lighter greenish blue eyes. My dad has it. I think one of my uncles has it. So it like skips a generation. And I found out that supposedly the story behind that, and I might be misremembering, so if you want to correct me, go ahead. That was just for my dad. Like his great-great-grandmother was French, and she was stolen. She was like from not a royal family, but like a noble family, I think. And so technically the culture there, she would have been given like in an arranged marriage, and instead fell in love with someone who I think was Romany and like stolen. And then they escaped to Mexico, allegedly.
Wow. How do we even get across the seas back then? Yeah. Like, I just be thinking like, wow, we really said just gonna get on this boat, be here for a while, and move.
But the rest of it's all Mexican. Hetero and, well, actually El Paso. But
That's close. Yeah.
They imported the parts. That sounded gross. I'm sorry. Well, it's great to have you here. We met through TikTok.
Yes.
Primarily, of course, your cosplay work. How long have you been doing cosplay?
Like most people, I started doing cosplay during the pandemic. I was struggling. Especially because like I was teaching at the time. I was teaching middle school, 6th graders specifically.
Oh.
6th graders on Zoom, teaching a performing arts class.
Terrible.
On Zoom. That's rude. That's just straight up awful to do to me and the kids, but we had to do what we had to do. And I needed something to kind of just to have some kind of creative outlet where I could feel somewhat accomplished, because like, drawing and illustrating, great, but it takes me a while to finish it. So I get that sense of accomplishment. Okay, whereas with closet cosplay, it's like, boom, I'm in it. I record, I'm done. Yay.
Yeah.
So it's a little different.
What was your, like, what was the thing that got you interested in like, I know you said you did it during COVID, but like what drew you specifically to cosplay, do you think?
That's a good question, because like when I first started on TikTok, I actually posted a lot of political stuff. I was very like talking about what it's like to be Afro-Latina, being Black Puerto Rican, and the issues that come with that, colorism, all of that, yada, yada, yada. But doing that, which was really heavy, and then teaching while all of that was going on was also very heavy. And I couldn't keep posting that. It wasn't sustainable for my mental health to keep doing that.
Right, makes sense.
And so it was like Halloween. It was Halloween, 2020, and I saw Shalon dressed as Linda, and Hippie Potter was dressed as Bob. They did what? And I was like, I think I could do Tina real quick. I think I can put this together.
That's so funny.
Hold on a second. And so I got like this blue shirt that had my school's logo on. I turned that bitch around. I was like, no one's gonna see it. Can I see bitch?
You're good. Okay. Yeah.
So
there's like a limit for YouTube, but I think we're past it.
Okay. I meant to ask before we started.
No,
so I turned the shirt around, and I had some glasses, some reading glasses I just popped the lenses out of, and I didn't even have a beret at that time. I just had one of those those little tab markers for your books where you
Right.
like, and I was like, I'm Tina now. And that kind of started my whole Bob's Burgers journey, which is my hyperfixation that I don't know why I'm still there. Like normally I cycle through them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
This one has been long lasting. But I'm not complaining. It's fun. And yeah, it just helps me to like kind of loosen up, do something fun and challenge myself. I treated like all my closet cosplays back then, like a design challenge on RuPaul's Drag Race. I was like, I gotta go to the closet real quick. What can I put together? And that was really fun and mentally stimulating for me as well.
That's great. I've like dabbled. I wouldn't say that I've done full on. I definitely don't do like what you've done in the videos you show how you do the costumes, but I like if I can come up with it like in a day kind of cosplaying. Like I remember I was Kingpin once, but literally it's because for my prom I went in a sort of cream white suit with a burgundy shirt. So I already had the look. So I just bought like a magic cane and like glued a super ball to it.
Oh my God.
Spray painted the whole thing silver.
That's smart though.
People got it.
That's really smart. And like, that's the best when you don't even have to spend a ton of money on the cosplay and it still works out. It's like, oh, you think I spent hours on this?
My most favorite costumes, cause I like Halloween. Part of it was like I grew up kind of a big kid, but I didn't like getting like store bought costumes. First, they felt weird. The felt, it's too thin and itchy. I don't like it. It feels like I'm wearing like, I don't know, but I don't like how it feels. But the other thing was just like sometimes they didn't have my size. So I want to say like maybe freshman year of high school, I started making my own costumes.
Nice.
The first one that I put like specific energy in is I found reflective tape, like the kind meant for like industrial like vents, and I had this idea to be a robot, so I got a bunch of like giant cardboard boxes and I made a whole robot suit.
Yeah.
I made a helmet out of like an Amazon box, and to get it to fit, I super glued an old fedora inside.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart.
And so that just became a thing. Like if I could do it, I'd think of something the week of, and if I could get it done before, then I'd have a costume for Halloween. It's been fun. My most favorite one besides that was I think 2 years ago was Pac-Man, and I just got
That's really cool.
a giant yellow shirt and wore oven mitts all night. Yeah.
That's smart.
But the funniest thing was, so my mom had round sunglasses, like thick glasses, so I just like taped like white paper and made the Pac-Man eyes.
Nice.
It was fun.
I love when people do those kind of eyes. I saw somebody do a Tina cosplay and they just took the glasses and they just did the tape and put a little dot over it. I was like, that's
funny.
So funny and so smart. And I don't know, it's really clever and silly. I love that. Yeah, I actually, so when my parents divorced, they're still best friends. We love that. When my parents divorced, my mother got really deep into religion. And so I was not allowed to celebrate Halloween.
Oh, wow.
For years. And I remember like watching all the kids in school being like, I want to do that. Why can't I do that? I want to dress up. Like I was trying to pretend, and a lot of my teachers, yes, I lied to my teachers, mama. I tried to lie to my teachers about costumes. They're like, this is not a costume. This is a dress slip. And I was like, if you believe I am a fairy, leave me alone.
That's funny.
So that didn't go over too well. So it's kind of like I also get to relive some of these things that I've always wanted to do. And when I worked at a toy store, oh my God, Halloween was amazing because I would dress up every single day of the week. I was like, I'm ready. Yes. I remember once I was like, I was trying to dress like Steve Irwin, and I pretended, from Crocodile Hunter, but I pretended my cat was a panther because she was black, and I was like holding her the entire time.
That's
like,
funny.
yeah, look what I caught, It was so stupid, but I had a ton of fun. And yeah, I do miss the toy store a little bit. Love y'all, US Toy. Yeah.
US Toy.
US Toy. It was in Kansas.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. I don't think I've ever dressed up like for work. It's usually just like for events or like I used to go to LA Comic Con a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I saw you were there this past year. I was gonna go and the month of, because it came out was like what was it, October?
I think so.
Oh no. So this happened in September. I got a house sitting gig. And it interloped, and they had pets, which they were great pets, lovely pets. There were two. I forget what they were. They're not hounds. They were like mixed, but they look like hunting hounds.
They had little long ears.
Like moderate. They look like they technically look like they were hounds, but they weren't. It was just like it's fun. Anyway, so I couldn't leave them for too long, so I couldn't. So I had to skip this year. But then, literally, like I'm there dog sitting, and then I see your post from it. I'm like, fuck.
I never know who's going to be there ever. And I got lost this year at this one.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I keep ending up in the same place. And I did it for so many times. I'm like, maybe I should just go home now. Like, because they separated the halls differently this year. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to get to where the rest of things are.
They always end up changing them up. And I think it's usually like, I don't think there's still they can never do the whole building. They always like share it with other conventions. It's like
a portion of it, which makes it even harder to navigate because sometimes they may have it upstairs and downstairs, but then you have to cross around to get to another side. I'm like, this is not user friendly.
I was good at getting around. So I went to the first 4 that were hosted in LA. So a lot of people don't know LA Comic Con is actually Stan Lee's Comic Con, which used to be Kamikaze, which used to be the Kamikaze Expo that he hosted once a year at Frank & Sons in City of Industry. So my friend introduced me to that one. And that's the one I used to go to. It was fun. I met one of the faces of Michael, I think from the reboot Halloween.
Oh my gosh.
The 2010 one. I met like second generation Power Rangers. It was fun. It was it's a small, that's the thing is like original comic book expos are kind of just swap meets for nerds.
But I kind of missed that.
Yeah.
I do. Like when I was in Albuquerque, just a heads up, I've lived a lot of places.
No, yeah, I was looking at your resume. You're all over the place.
I am. But in Albuquerque Comic Expo, I really liked. It was very small, but like you could actually talk to people. You could hear yourself think, which was really nice. And even the panels were actually easy to get into. Like if you wanted to go, you didn't have to wait there for hours or anything. So that was, I don't know. I really appreciate the accessibility of it. And like, I don't know. And I think because it was so relaxed and laid back, it made even the guests feel a bit more relaxed and laid back. They joked around a lot more. They were more amenable to requests. It's pretty nice. It's not as big as San Diego Comic-Con, which can be anxiety inducing. Oh my God.
No, yeah, San Diego's gotten huge.
It's so big. It's too big. And I remember I was working press my second time going, I was working press. So I'd be in line for one panel, typing up an article for the previous panel. I'm like, I can't work like this. I'm not working these anymore. So I do not work them anymore. I'm like, nope, I'm going to just be there at this point because it's just too much. And even that is a lot. Like planning my times and my costumes to go to the panels that I want to go to. Like for this year, I was Spice Rack Linda from Bob's Burgers, and I went to the Bob's Burgers panel. I was so close to the mic, I could have gotten up, and I was like, no, I don't want them to see me like this. But it's interesting, like the culture around how different they are. Like it's such a big commercial one, but I do miss the feeling of the small ones. I do like WonderCon actually better than San Diego Comic-Con because of that. I haven't been yet.
I keep meaning to.
You should go. I got to meet back when S.H.I.E.L.D. was like really big on the TV. It sounds like an old person saying. I got to meet a lot of the cast members. They're like, yeah, we can take selfies. I was like, what? Oh my God, y'all are nice. Yeah. But that was really, really cool. And they would bring people up on stage. Like that cast was one of the nicest casts I've seen like in a long time. But yeah, WonderCon is a fun one as well because it's more chill. It's not as big as San Diego Comic-Con and doesn't typically it gets nowhere near the amount of attendees. It's so much easier to handle. I can actually rest if I need to rest, sit down, take breaks. And that's really, really nice.
Yeah, that's what I liked about LA Comic-Con when it first started, because it was like at the Staples Center, but they were still, getting funding, I think it took a reality show that Stanley did on Sci-Fi to get like a bigger budget and actually be allowed to, I'm pretty sure the whole show was about the interns of Kamikaze and Stan Lee's like continuous attempt to get the name Comic-Con because there was like a journey with that. He called it Kamikaze because he couldn't call it Comic-Con. Then he wanted to be LA Comic-Con, but the most they gave him was he was allowed to call it Stan Lee's Comic-Con. And then the year before he passed, they finally gave it to him.
About dang time.
Yeah.
Also, it should not have to take that.
Yeah,
it's Stan freaking Lee. Like, do you know? Like, y'all, we wouldn't be here. Like, without.
Exactly.
Come on.
But yeah, those first 4 years were fun. I met a lot of voice actors, which is like
That's
a huge
awesome.
thing for me. I met like my personal Mount Rushmore of voice acting, which was great. I met Rob Paulson.
Oh, damn.
Jim Cummings, Richard Horvitz.
Richard Horvitz is a good
And I'm blanking because I have to think about it, which is the worst. The voice of Gert. I know his name, I'm blanking on it right now.
I can even see his face in my head.
Right.
And I was trying to think. I was like, I know this person voices so many characters as well. Who I met at Albuquerque Comic Expo. Oh my god, I even have pictures of him. He does the honeybee from the Honey Nut Cheerios. He does Fry from Futurama.
Oh, Billy West.
Thank you. Oh my
Billy
god, that
West.
drives me crazy. Billy West. So I got
Yeah.
to see him like right there, like nice and easy. But yeah, and that's the other thing, like the voiceover stuff. I'm like, how do you do this? Like, I think I'm more at this point in my voiceover career, if you can call it that, looking at how they maintain consistency. And while taking care of your voice, you can still do other stuff.
Right.
Because I was singing in the car the whole way up here, and it started going.
Yeah.
So I'm apparently not too good at it.
No, I definitely get that. Like, we stack episodes sometimes, so I'm talking consistently for like 4 hours straight.
Oh my
and it can be a
God.
strain.
God, yeah, it's rough. Like,
And that's just talking.
and then I did this audiobook, which I'm really fortunate. Like, I got really lucky. This person, her name is Jennifer Marita McCauley, and it was a Black Puerto Rican book. And I said, and we found each other. I said, yes! I was so excited. But that's the whole book. You have to read a whole book out loud, not a kid's book. This is for grown-ups. I was like, wow, this is.
I think
this
that's
is a
like
lot.
the one thing I consider myself aspiring. You know, I don't have any major credits to my name yet. I did like a web series once. It wasn't great. The writing was okay, but it was like she was doing everything herself except the acting.
Oh, that's a lot.
And so, you know, it was an expeditious process. I don't know if that's a word. But I probably think that the one thing I'll struggle with is audiobooks, because I listen to audiobooks, but it's usually like when I need to research something. So, and I have ADHD, so instead of like taking the time to listen to the whole book, I listen to it in times 3 speed.
Yeah, no, I that's how I watch all of these long TikToks now. I'm like,
Yeah.
like, let's keep it moving. I feel bad about it, but it's like, I can't, that's just how my brain works. And like, I didn't even really listen to audiobooks until like the past year. Like, 'cause I do a lot of road trips as well. I drive around a lot. So I started doing that, and then I started getting into like, I'm like, oh, I could do this, but it is a lot of work. And it's, and then like navigating the business side of that, like, you know, per hour versus per finished hour, like, which is like, ooh, when I learned that the hard way, I was like, oh no, oh no. Let me do per hour next time, because the per finished hour is only for how long the book ends up being.
Right.
And it's not taking into account all of the time that you put into, you know, recording, whether you have to do punch and roll, whether you have to go back and redo things. And then like even not negotiating on my behalf, the like what, you know, if I need to correct something, like how much do I give them for free and how much do I start charging them after that?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's it's been a fun learning curve. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Is rough. I would prefer to do short videos for voiceover. I did something for this agency called Waller. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but they were doing it they had a video promoting Familia Fuego, one of those TikTok houses.
Right.
And it was because them and DirecTV had kind of put this together, and it was basically
I think I've heard of this,
yeah, what they did. And so they needed, you know, to promote it. So I was doing it. I was like, yeah.
Nice.
And I was like, so you have, because I heard the original recording that they had as a reference, and the actor is saying Univision, and I was like, I have never in my life heard it called Univision. And I was like, can I say the Spanish pronunciations of some of these names? Because this is weird to me.
Yeah.
And especially for something called Familia Fuego, like, come on.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, yeah, that's fine. I was like, Univision, Telemundo.
That was so funny because you said Univision and it did not click in my head.
Because it does not make sense. Who the fuck is that? Oops. My bad.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
If it's anything like egregious, we'll bleep it.
Okay, thank you. My parents can be so ashamed. My dad knows I cuss this much. My mother does not. But yeah, no, I was like, no, we need to change some of this. So being able to like feel that confident was really, really nice for me. But I'm also like, they don't even speak this language. So of course they have to rely on me.
Yeah.
And that's been interesting too, like getting to Spanish voiceover, because I think I can sound non-regional. My dad says no. And so does like my other, like, because I found a group of Puerto Ricans because I needed the culture here.
Right.
And she was like, no, you still sound very Puerto Rican. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure that out. But because I've never had to work on it before. I've never had to work on my dialect in a way to change it to sound more, I don't know, understood, comprehensible by other people, except for my students. But then I just sounded like them. I sounded like I am from around here instead of Puerto Rico. But
right.
Yeah. It's weird.
No, yeah, the subtle differences, because I've met a lot of, doing stand-up and doing this show, different regional Latinos, and yeah, it's you don't think about it until you actually like hear everyone talk, but it is, and of course, like I don't, speak Spanish. I know some of it, but I definitely wouldn't say like I'm fluent by any means. But even with that, like it takes you being like in the same room as people to like actually hear the difference.
For sure.
And it's something that I don't think I could do like an intentional Spanish accent. I probably would sound terrible. There's some words that I still struggle with, like saying, I have to say it without the accent, churro. For some reason, it's like the one word that I can't roll the R's on. I don't know what it is.
Interesting.
About it. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't,
Right?
So I also used to live in Puerto Rico, like as a kid. Like I would, like whenever my mom would get deployed, I was at my dad's. And so I learned so much, and then I had to come back to the States full time because he also decided to move to the States. Ew. Sorry.
No.
They got stationed in Alaska, the first place they moved, me, my dad and his wife.
Crazy.
And I said, that's just cruel and unusual punishment because y'all are literally from Puerto Rico and they're going to move you over there? No, you need to sue the government.
I don't know. I can't imagine like Latinos in Alaska.
And the thing is, there were more. There were more Puerto Ricans, and I was like, what are we all doing here? We don't belong here. It's cold. The sun, or like the summers. Oh my God, the sun would not go down.
Crazy.
The sun would not go down, and like I'd never slept with a sleep mask because I have sensory issues when I'm asleep, and I can feel every little thing, and I had to train myself because if not, the sun's just in my eyes for hours. It's not supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I was talking about, but that's
your parents coming from, because you grew up in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. So so since I learned, I was, in bilingual classes, my school was bilingual, all of that, coming to the States, my pronunciation was still very much of the island and trying to learn how to not sound like that, because what was going on at that time is that I was getting tested for a lot of different things. I didn't know what they were, but I remember going into rooms, doing all the things. And they were trying to put me in ESL. And I was like, but I mean, my school is literally bilingual.
Yeah.
I'm speaking English to you right now, but to them it wasn't up to their standards. But my mother refused. She was like, "No, my child does not need your services."
Right.
And then it was interesting because now when I moved to California, I still say a lot of words with Spanish. I don't want to say accent, but it affects it, right? So when I went to Chula. I'll say it how I said it before. When I went to Chula Vista, I was like, oh, I like Chula Vista. Oh, it's cute. And I told some girls like, oh yeah, I went to Chula Vista. And she goes, it's Chula Vista. And I was like, okay, all right. I didn't know that's how we were doing it over here. And it was interesting to try to reframe my brain because I was like, I thought we always say those words that way. And then they're like, no.
I think that's a funny thing too, because I've noticed that from more fluent Spanish speakers from my hometown, because I grew up in California, where it's kind of a flip of the coin, like where they're coming from, because a lot of Californians in general will make you say it with like the weird like surfer,
the Anglicism.
But a lot of Latinos have started to be like, no, these are Spanish words, like it is Chula Vista. Yeah.
Damn right.
I hope I said that fine.
You did. It was a great job.
Or like, what's another one? Los Feliz. Because white people say Los Feliz, which in my head is always how I heard it, like outside of my own like neighborhood. So it didn't sound weird to me until I realized it's supposed to be Los Feliz.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a weird one.
It's wild.
Los
Feliz. It sounds like a cartoon character.
It does.
That would be a funny, because there's a lot of like Felix the Cat shirts
That's
at
what I was
Swami.
thinking too.
Los Feliz. That's actually very funny. TM. No, I'm just kidding. Someone probably already did it. Because even though I haven't had any major work, as I mentioned, I have like done auditions and practiced on my own time. I work on voices and impressions and dialects. And it's interesting to research. Sometimes it feels a little weird when you have to like tell the specific differences between like regional dialects.
Yeah.
It can feel a little creepy. But it matters sometimes.
It does.
Are there any like accents that you think you're
good at?
Good at?
I mean, mine.
Yeah.
I mean, and I like to believe I can do a British accent, but I know if a British person heard it, they'd be like, American, you know, like, yeah. I know it's not going to be great. But of course, Southern. My mom is from Alabama, so it's like, I realized I actually picked up a lot of my speech patterns in English from her, which she does not like. She's like, I want you to sound a little, you know, that way you get more work. And I'm like, you're right, Mom. I will work on it. And then years ago, I did a pretty good Ugandan accent, but that's because I had to when I lived in it. I was playing a Ugandan teenager in this play called Cardboard Piano by Hansel Jung. And it's about my character, who was named Adiel, and this white girl, they're both teenagers, they fall in love. They're not supposed to. It's Uganda. It's the 90s. And, you know, not good things happen. I got shot on stage. I'd never been shot on stage before. I was so excited. But it was devastating. Everybody was upset about it. But I had to live in it. I was, you know, rehearsing 6 nights a week. We had a dialect coach come in. Right. We had things that we had to watch. They gave us Ugandan actors to watch, Ugandan shows to watch, so that we were like really, really living in it. But, you know, it's like any other skill. If you don't practice it, you know, it goes away. So I feel like I probably just sound like I'm from Wakanda at this point, which is like a mix of all of the African dialects. Yeah. So I'm not even going to try to do that one. But yeah, and then like, I'm not going to do that because it's way too loud for this mic. But there's also, who was it? It's this woman. There was this old TV show, I can't remember what it's called, but it was like this old white family, and they used to it was very controversial because they did like racial jokes sometimes. I don't know. But they would sing together at the piano. And I think that's one. Thank you. All in the Family, because I was like, that's what Family Guy gets it from. I don't know why. I can do her voice, but I'm not going to. You can't turn your game down. No. Exactly. And I would do her voice singing Santa Baby, like just because I loved to do it. That's really so much. But yeah, those are the kind of weirdos that I'm into and like listening to, and the kind of voices and accents that I do. But I also realize that with my neurodivergence, sometimes it affects how I read a character. Right. Like, and I'm will be so far off base. People don't know what to do. I had a puppet audition once, and I had a monologue to do. They're like, great monologue. Now we want you to try it with this puppet. Okay. So I grabbed the puppet, and he had like a bowler hat on. So I made him talk like James Cagney. I was like, this is what we're gonna do, see? And they started screaming, like laughing in my face. I was like, I don't understand what's going on. And they were like, no, he's just never sounded like that. He's normally a very polite British man. So I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't understand.
That's funny.
No, it's getting kind of ridiculous. I have to figure that out. And the way that I have this old woman voice as well that I love to do. I did a murder mystery with my friends, and I was playing Agatha Christie, and I don't know why every single word was like, yes.
That's funny.
It was so dumb. It was so stupid. But I love doing that voice so much. It's just, stupid and fun.
I do a lot of voices. People don't like them. I do them like in public. Like so I found out at like a young age that I figured out how to like pinch the back of my throat and do if I do it, it's not going to sound exactly like them, but the voices of the Rugrats, I figured out how they made their voices do that. And it's that they're pinching the back of their throat, like from the inside. Yeah. So I created this character, Rupert. And people don't like it, but it's like I think I remember what do they call it? Those people that like call you about your
telemarketer, or
the scam ones, the like extended warranty people.
Oh, okay.
Call and it's like, hello, is this Rupert? And they started talking like that. People don't like it. But the creepiest thing is he has like a what do you call it? Not a pixie, like a mischievous imp laugh. Where you and people don't like it. But I have to practice. Well, I think that I have to practice those things because it is like the work that I'm trying to get into. Yeah. And it's not just, people don't like when I practice them because they're creepy, but that's like a thing for me about voice acting, especially if you're trying to do character work. Is like, you can't just be able to do a voice. You have to be able to like enunciate and like sing as that person. Even if they can't sing, you have to know what they sound like.
No, for real. Yeah. For real, because even Abiel had to sing. And so she also lived in a higher register in my voice because she was younger than me.
Right.
And I had to sing and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I had to think about like, how do those notes typically sound in the mouth? Like, how is the mouth, like what's going on with the tongue, the teeth, what's happening here? And so I had to sing it like her. And so that's why people thought that I actually was Ugandan after the show. I said, no. Born in Georgia. I'm sorry. But it is really interesting to think about how they do all of those things, like your character. I mean, I that's one of the things I do like to sing as my characters. I think it's fun. Like I have a little voice that I like to do sometimes, and I did this in front of my dad, and I sang Si una vez. My dad was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "I don't know. You did this. Like this is all your fault."
That's funny.
But it's fun to try, and I mean, like you don't know until you keep going. Like that's the whole thing. Is like keep your skills up as much as you can. Yeah. That's also work. Those are billable hours.
You do kind of lose it if you like I have impressions that I've incorporated in my stand-up. I do monologues, but I do them as like old cartoon voices.
I love.
The most popular one is Mickey Mouse doing There Will Be Blood.
Oh my God.
But the first one I ever learned was Ed Wynn, the Mad Hatter, the 1960s Mad Hatter. Or I guess more people now, young generations would recognize the impression of Ed Wynn, which is King Candy, which is Alan Tudyk's version.
Such a good voice.
And that one was an interesting one to develop because I figured out, again, at a younger age that I could figure out the range of the voice. But I think what sells it more, I think what makes a really good Ed Wynn impersonation isn't just that you're able to do the voice and the lisp, it's that you have to be able to incorporate a New York accent.
Yeah.
And because he's from Queens.
And all of those pitches, like the high of that voice, sometimes it goes really far up there, like almost squeak.
Yeah, and that's like the thing. And that was the thing I was learning about the voice was like a lot of people just do it up. Like they just go up and it's, and it's fun and that is a version of it. But to really do an Ed Wynn, you have to go high, but you have to go low. Yeah.
There's a lilt in the voice. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was one. I do, I think the first monologue I did as Ed Wynn was The Elephant Man, but nobody knows that movie.
Like, wait a minute. Hold on. This was like an old movie, right?
Yeah, like the Anthony Hopkins playing the doctor.
Thank you. Yes, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah, so there's the end where he's cornered and he's like, I am not an animal. I am a human being. And I did that as Edwin.
Oh my God.
But nobody got the reference. So I started doing Tommy from Goodfellas, which is Joe Pesci's character. One. So it became, now let me get this straight because maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a little fucked up in the head. How am I funny? Like I'm a clown here to amuse you?
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Oh my God.
But it's fun.
It is. I like
so I do that. That was one of the first full-on impressions I learned. And I learned this at like 14 13. So, so I talk like that in public. For a while, I was working for a tea shop. This was before my mom's job. This was the lady that I worked for, I think, 3 years before her. When I was bored, because sometimes we'd have slow days, I would just start talking like the Mad Hatter to people, or I'd start practicing my voices. I do a lot of old cartoons. I do Droopy the Hound Dog. I used to do like Bender, but like season 1 Bender, like I could bend any girder 30 degrees. I don't remember the full monologue, but so I've done a lot of voice practice for a thing that I am not currently working in yet, but we're getting there.
Training. That's training. It counts. It counts. No, I used to do it at the toy store whenever it was like a closing announcement. I was like, because if I do my voice, ain't nobody gonna listen to me. Right. So I pick it up and be like, hello, U.S. toy customers. The store will be closing in approximately 10 minutes. Hang up. And they'd be like, oh, well, who was that? Oh, I don't know. She's in the office. Like, just lying. We used to do that all the time, though. Like, we would all do voices on that. I mean, I probably started. I should not have been in charge, but I still had fun.
Yeah. No, I get that.
It was a lot of fun. Oh, my God. What was I going to say? I don't know. It's gone. The thought left.
That happens.
It abandoned me.
I used to make a joke like, I don't have a train of thought. I have an Uber of thought, because sometimes it's rerouting.
Ah, that. Yeah. Or they cancel on you.
Right?
Oh, my God. That happens to me every
That's a funny way to explain executive dysfunction. Like, my train of thought canceled its ride. Yeah. That's funny.
Oh, my gosh. That's how it feels like, though. Like... And it hits in the worst moments, typically, like as you're leaving the house or as you're getting ready to do like a presentation. It's, oh my God. It's like, if I'm not already anxious enough, now I got to like mess myself up. Thanks, brain. Appreciate you.
Sometimes I joke that I think the reason I have OCD is because I have ADHD. Like all of my fears are related to things I forget.
No, it's crazy because like I'm constantly checking like, where's all my stuff? Do I have my stuff? Did I leave it? And then sometimes I glitch out and like, it's just gone. Like, it's just disappeared. So I have paid the ADHD tax on so many things, like makeup, headphones, the amount of wireless Bluetooth headphones that I have, and I keep finding them after I've lost them for months. It's annoying, and I feel awful.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I already bought this, and like I can't let people know that I found these ones again.
No, yeah, I had to stop getting pods and stick to like headphones. Yeah. Because I kept losing the pods, and then I'd find them later. I'd find one, and then the other one would be like in a drawer. I just never looked in.
That, and I don't understand how that happens. Like, because I'll think, oh, I'm going to put it in a safe space, but it's so safe even I can't find it. Like, I don't even trust me.
That happened to me. I want to say 3 years ago. I was going on a trip to El Paso to visit my dad's side of the family, and I like prepped before the trip so that I could cover myself, like, you know, pay for my own food if I wanted to buy anything out there. And so I leave all of my cards in my wallet, and I leave my wallet on this very special shelf that was in my closet. It's so like I had a walk-in closet. Well, I had a closet big enough to walk into.
Okay.
And so when you turn immediately to your right, there's a window, and next to that window, someone had installed a mini shelf. Don't know why. The shelf's kind of useless. It was like falling. It couldn't carry a lot of weight. But it was like, if I leave my wallet here, I'm going to remember it because it's too specific. And then the day of the trip, they're on their way to pick me up, and I can't find my wallet. I'm checking my pants. I'm checking my pockets. I look under the mattress. I check all my drawers. I can't remember it. They show up, and I'm like, I guess I don't have my wallet. And then I get back, and for a completely different reason, I think I had a popcorn maker. And I think one time I left it on too long and it started to smoke. So I go into I'm opening all the windows. So I go to my closet to open that window, and there's my wallet.
Oh my God. It's like, oh, well, it's here. Like, I literally lost my wallet like the other day. Like, I was going to go, I'm apartment shopping right now. So I was like, I'd already scanned my ID at the place, so I didn't need to do it again. But I still wanted it. I could not find it. But I'm like, I got to go make this appointment. Yeah. Could not find my wallet for 2 days. It was literally on the couch. Just on the couch. And because I have so many couch blankets. Yeah. I am a cozy person. And it was just wrapped up in a blanket. And I was like, why would it be there?
I'm trying to find like some alternative because I know some people like they have those lanyards that go on. Like if you have a satchel, they have lanyards that go on the sash. For a while, I carried like a lanyard with my stuff, but that didn't. I knew that eventually that wouldn't work because eventually I'd get uncomfortable and take off the lanyard, and then it's gone.
Yep. I had a lanyard as a teacher. I don't even know where the other half of that thing is. Like it's gone. And I mean, like my other mom, essentially, she did a lot of carabiners growing up.
Right.
And so like, that's how she never lost her keys. So she got me a carabiner and I ain't lost these mofos yet. So that's helped me. But the wallet thing, I don't know. That thing is hard.
Yeah. I have a joke about that. It's kind of like a tweet type joke. But it's funny to me and like my friends that have ADHD is like I make the joke like I feel like the reason that every ADHD person has a bunch of keychains and bobs on there is so that the bigger the keys are, the harder it is to lose it.
I am very upset about that. Yeah. I am so I'm called out, but it's true.
Because I don't drive, so I literally only have one set of keys. It's to my house. But I also have like 3, I have a mini figurine on it of Yoda, and I have a bunch of keychains. Like, I need it to be a handful so I can remember where it is.
Exactly. No, I completely get that. And like, honestly, most of these keys aren't even mine. This is my mom's. My mom lives in Kansas. She's not getting these back. Yeah. Like, I love you. These are mine. And that's mine now. I'm not getting rid of it. It's added to the collection. It is what it is. And my wallet, I have the tiniest wallet because I had a big one. I had this big Darth Vader one, but it's almost so big that it didn't fit anywhere. So I got this small one thinking, oh, this will be great. I'll lose this little thing.
Everywhere, yeah.
Like, my hand can cover up this wallet. Like, that's ridiculous. This gets lost. I'm going to lose it in this pocket later on.
No, yeah. People have recommended to me getting a phone case with a wallet in it. And I'm like, no.
I've tried it.
Because all I have to do is lose one of those things.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're both gone.
All of them, yeah.
It's like, no, I have to split it up. I got to compartmentalize. I got to spread around the potential errors. And then I have, okay, don't judge me. I have somebody who loves me who bought me this system called Tile, where it connects to your phone. So if you lose your keys, you can ring your keys. You can find them. It also comes with a card, so you can put it in your wallet. So if you lose your wallet, you can ring the card, but if you lose your phone, you can't ring either. So
yeah, that's really funny.
I was like, I get it, and I'm sad that you felt the need that you had to get me this, but thank you.
I should get one of those because literally all the time when I lose stuff, my brother's my roommate. I'm like, I wish you could call my keys right now because I can't find them.
Oh my gosh. I hate losing things. And like now with my cosplay stuff, I have, oh my God, my cosplay room is a wreck. It's always a wreck. Not always. I'll have like a fit of cleaning and all of a sudden it's like sparkling and then I go in there and shoot and I've destroyed it again. But like I have bought multiples of the same cosplay, not realizing I had one.
Yeah, I get that.
And I'm like, oh, I just got multiple Sailor Mars in my closet right now. What am I going to do with these? Like, probably going to turn one of them into Sailor Bruno Mars, but we'll see.
That's hilarious. That's really funny.
I love Bruno Mars. It's kind of getting ridiculous. Like, when I'm not dressed cozy, I basically just dress like him. I'm like, all right, we'll do some silk pajamas. We'll do a little button down, little wide leg pants, little gold chain. I was like, yeah, I'm Bruno. I love it. I like his style.
No, yeah. I like Bruno Mars. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh, do you have a Chaos box?
No. Oh, no, I have a lot. Yeah. I don't just have one. There's multiple.
The whole room's a Chaos box.
It's really bad. Yeah. I have one in the living room because they have a what is it called? A coffee table with 2 little cubbies. My box is just... Oh, yeah. And then I've got my other box in my room, which is supposed to be props. I have another one that's supposed to be head stuff, like hats and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what's supposed to be in there. Anything could be in there. You might find some pressed on nails. Who knows? Like, it's just not very organized.
No, yeah. I have like so much stuff. I have a drawer that's random. I try to like keep my other stuff organized. I have like an extra box. Like if I need to organize, I have a temporary chaos box. So like I put everything into the box, and then I slowly start unpacking to specifically yours. But then I have like a genuine like drawer that's just the randomest stuff. It has like Cards Against Humanity prompts, just the answers, not the questions. I have like 5 kinds of Sharpies and highlighters. I have what else do I have? A Loteria deck. I have different kinds of like playing cards. Just the cards, just individual cards. Yeah, none of them are from the same deck. It's just a bunch of random playing cards. I have just complete chaos in there.
No,
hence the name. Yeah,
it's pretty bad. Like I found this other little thing the other day. I'm like, oh, I can put stuff in this, and I was like, it's just gonna be for jewelry. There's jewelry. There's ink pads for like stamps in there. Yeah. I'm like, I don't even know what possessed me to do that. I was like, it's silver, and I think I just threw it.
There's so many things I own like. I don't remember why I wanted them, and it's never stuff I bought. It's always like just stuff that was entertaining me at the time. Like I remember I freelanced for this catering. A friend of mine has a catering company, and I attended as extra hands for some of the events, and so we had a Christmas party. I think not last year, but the year before, and. For some reason, I started talking about how my mom taught me to twirl baton because I was a big fan of Darth Maul, so she wanted to show me how to. And so I was showing on this dinner knife that he had. It was like a steak knife. It wasn't a steak knife, but it wasn't a butter knife. Okay. It was like a general.
It had a serrated edge.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was like heavy on one side and light on the other, so it was perfectly balanced. So I started twirling it and flipping it, and I was like, I really like this knife. And I just remember him. It's a Christmas present. I'm also like plastered. And he's like, you can have that if you want. I'm like, all right. I put it in my pocket. Didn't think about it again for like a week. Yeah. So now I have a knife somewhere.
I just realized I don't know where my dagger is.
I was going to ask, do you collect knives?
I don't, but I like got a dagger for something.
For something,
and it was cute. Like it came in like this, like it was all padded, the box and everything. I had to like lift it out. I was like, this is magical. I like this, and then I lost it. I don't know where that dagger is. I thought it was in my car, but it's not. I don't know.
I have a collection of like utility knives.
Oh, that's cool.
Like some of them are like warehouse knives, like they just flip, and then some of them are like full on. Like multi-tools.
Yes, Leathermans and such.
I don't have like regular tools though.
What?
I have like 5 multi-tools, but not like a regular set of wrenches and screwdrivers.
You only really need a screwdriver.
Yeah, I really only need a multi-tool, apparently. Yeah, I collect a lot of weird things. I used to collect like not garbage, but just like not throw things away. Like
no, I know, I get that.
I wasn't digging through things, but like I would save like pens and popsicle sticks and stuff. But then I'd turn them into things. That was the thing.
No, I remember I had like all these half-colored popsicle sticks to make like a little box for some reason. I had a lid for it and everything.
Well, I liked making like I want to. Make sure I phrase this correctly. Okay. I made like weapons, but not weapons to use. I like carved tiny toy weapons out of the stuff I collected.
You carved the popsicle stick?
Yeah.
I knew they were structurally sound to do that. That's crazy.
It's difficult. And I probably shouldn't have been doing it. That's probably why they stopped letting me collect knives.
Like, no, that's enough.
No, but I got super nerd. There was a minute there where I was going, not to art school, but I was taking art classes. And that was like a thing that I did for fun, was make like repurposed refuse art.
That's cool.
Like I made a dragon out of like straws, super glue, and like an old extension cord someone threw out, or a piece of extension cord, and apparently their dog chewed it up. Oh, it was fun.
That's really cool.
But it was weird, and I had to keep throwing them out. But now that's like a whole thing on TikTok.
Yeah,
it's turning trash
into art, reuse art.
God. I do it. I'm neurodivergent.
It's ahead of the curve, you know, like all the time.
I have a lot of different hobbies. What about you?
I do. I have a ton of Funko Pops that I shouldn't have. I have too many. They're everywhere. There's too many in my room. They're stacked up to the ceiling.
I have like a small collection of Funko Pops. I have a Spider-Man that was like part of the original like set, the very first like set of Popcorn, but it's out of the box.
See, I was like buying them as soon as I had the urge, right? As soon as it was bad. I'm an Aries, so I'm very impulsive, and I also have ADHD, so that makes me doubly impulsive. So like, I mean, I have all the Bob's Burgers family, like from like the first, release of those. I've got, old Rick and Morty ones. Like, there's so many old Steven Universe, a lot of stuff. There was one I did not buy when I felt the need to, and I'm still upset about it. It was Headless Ned Stark. It was only $15 when I first saw it. Tell me why I looked on Amazon and that thing was like worth $1,200. And I said, are you for real? You for real right now? The one time I'm not impulsive. The one time I try to be mindful. Nah. Yeah. I was so upset. But I do have a lot of those. I also love to draw. I love to illustrate. I do it mostly on my iPad. Just like Procreate is my friend.
I can't get a handle on drawing with an iPad.
So here's what I do. Because I can't do line art in the iPad correctly. Right. So I do all of my sketches on paper and then I just scan them.
That's what I do, yeah.
That still counts to me.
Yeah. Because I do like, a little bit of design work. It's, it's pop art, like logos and stuff. It's nothing, I do flyers. I don't do anything major. It's a lot of like cartoony hand-drawn pop art. But that's the thing is like I have to draw it first and then color it. And I usually color it in like acrylic so that it's like heavy when I scan it. And then I scan it. And if there's anything to touch up, I do that digitally. And then I vector. And it's a whole process.
Yeah.
I don't even have I need to get like a computer scanner thing. I scan it with my phone and then I touch everything up on the computer. Yeah.
I scan it with my phone as well. I'm like,
But I like the stuff I come up with.
No, I do too. I'm very proud of like the little things that I've drawn. I have like this weird thing with drawing monster girls. I don't know what my brain's trying to say about me when I'm doing that, but I should probably figure that out. But yeah, monster girls. I have like some, what did I do? The girls with 4 eyes, lizards and like, I don't know. Funny. I don't know. But,
I had a thing for drawing robots as a kid. I don't know what that was about. Robots and like, I liked designing weapons, like like fantasy weapons, And it was so funny because I'd have ideas and I realized like they actually existed. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, staffs that turn into swords, stuff like that. And it was fun. And it was good. I had nothing to use it for. Like, I couldn't draw a full character. I could just draw the sword that this character in my head would use.
I still can't draw a full character. Yeah. I suck at drawing full bodies. I can get now. I'm to the thigh.
If I take my time with it, like if I spend a day drawing something, I can do a decent job. But if I'm trying to draw like on the spot, like in half an hour, I mess up the hands or the eyebrows are weird. There's always one detail I miss.
Anything that's a quick doodle is always a face and 3/4 profile. Yeah. That's the only thing you're going to be able to get from me.
So most things I do, it has to be like a project. Like right now, what I'm working on is last year I started this series of Loteria drawings, but they were Batman art. Now I'm actually trying to make like Loteria card sized portraits. I'm redoing the whole project. That's cool. And each drawing takes like a whole day to do.
I believe it.
Like I did the first one. So card 1 is going to be Red Robin, which is a lot of people know as Tim Drake. And then it's the most difficult part is trying to find a relative comparative card.
That makes sense with the character.
I'm basing the ones I choose off of the actual Loteria card. So the first number 1 card is the Rooster, so I went with Red Robin.
That makes sense.
The second one is the Little Devil, so I'm trying to draw Batmite.
Ooh, okay.
And that one's fun. Batmite is the rival to I can't remember that guy's name. The imp from the 5th dimension that bugs Superman.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Mizopanilnik something. Yeah. So I'm keeping a lot of the cards that I had already come up with. I'm just making them smaller. Like what's the name? Mundo is gonna be. Is it Mundo? Or is it Atlas? The guy holding up the world.
Atlas.
I forget the Spanish name on the card.
But I think it may be Mundo on the card.
I think so. It's like the world or something.
Yeah.
That's going to be Bane.
Okay,
Breaking
yeah.
Batman. El Borracho, I think, was the Joker. I made it work too. It was fun.
That's pretty cool.
So that's what I'm working on now. I'm also working on merch. I can't reach the table, but I have a cup of our logo. That's from the other show. No, it's fine. They're
I'm a horrible performer.
They're both my shows. You should buy the merch either way. No, I'm gonna work on Reydar merch soon. I'm just trying to figure out how to make, because the logo is super specific. So I'm trying to figure out how to make a poppy like sticker version of that I can just dump on mugs and shirts. What were we talking about?
Hobbies and loteria and art.
Hobbies and loteria and art projects.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw you do some watercolors and paints, right?
I do. I won't say I'm good at it. I'm so.
I think they're very interesting.
I appreciate it because them piss me off. I have never been so mad while doing art. I was working with watercolors. I'm like, no.
No, yeah, watercolors are so temperamental. Like you have to be so careful with them.
I'm like, who do you think you are? Why are you dripping this way? I have like paper towels on deck, extra dry brushes to try to like get stuff up. It was, and I really wanted to like get to the point where I was extremely confident with it, like to the point that I bought entirely way too many watercolors. I haven't even used them all. Like it's bad. Like they're still new. The plastic is on them, and I just didn't get to that point. Not to say that I couldn't. I just didn't. Maybe I'll pick it back up again. Maybe, I don't know. But I actually started when I started drawing, like actually being serious about it. I started with oil pastels. I loved an oil pastel.
I am always so nervous to use oil pastels. I can never get the hang of it. I'm better at acrylic for some reason.
For me, it was also like the fact that like, I don't know. I like the fact that I got kind of dirty from it. Like I would smudge because I wanted everything to be smooth.
Right.
And like, of course you can cover up your mistakes with oil pastels real nice and easy. Like that was the other thing that I liked about it.
Yeah, it's like a very heavy paint.
But like I would do huge things. Well, to me, they were huge. They'd be like that big, like drawings of them. Like I had a huge sketchbook and I would just like do people, lots of different colors. I don't know why I'm obsessed with drawing people in non-natural human color. You know, they're
like abstract.
Yeah, they're like orange and green and red and blue. You know, like I don't.
No, I get what you mean.
know, I never draw people with regular.
Name for that. I forget what it's called. It's like neo something.
Sure. Yes. Neo.
No, yeah, I see those. I like that style.
It was a lot of fun. That's how, and I really, really liked it. It's just that was also kind of hard to keep up because those big pieces would also eat up them little oil pastels. So then I started to move to like digital stuff. The digital stuff, my students actually taught me that. They were like, you can do this, you can do this. They showed me this app on my phone. So I started on my phone first. And then I was like, let me just go ahead and Procreate. I have money. I'm a grown up. I can actually buy Procreate. Let me just do that. And so I've been doing a lot more of just digital stuff recently. I've been also doing artwork for different organizations around San Diego, like Soul Kiss Theater. Love them. They're a Black queer femme lesbian spot, and they do a lot of theater. I also did, I work for Diversionary Theater, which is also queer theater. Excuse me, that's not our branding, LGBTQIA plus theater. And I do a lot of art for them, like so much. So I'm like constantly doing stuff, which is really, really nice, but also can be a little draining sometimes because it's like now I'm putting out more stuff that's like for other people and other things. But luckily, there are things that I believe in and support, but it would, it's not expressive of me necessarily. But yeah, yep, lots of art. Lots of art. I thought I was going to be a singer. No, that's not my calling. I am classically trained though.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was in the conservatory at UMKC for a bit and then I switched to film.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. That should have been a sign that there's already something not quite right. And I did not do well in film school. I mean, my art was amazing. My teachers and I did not all get along.
Yeah. No, I get that. There's a lot of, I have a very limited style because I am partially blind in my right eye. It is a stigmatism, but it's stigmatism that's so severe that it can't be aided with corrective lenses. Like this lens does nothing. This is just like a +3 reading glass lens.
Okay.
But so the issue with that is I'm right-handed and they directly correlate. And so I, struggle keeping straight. It takes me a really long time to accomplish certain. So I do a lot of like hash work, cross hatching lines and like very sketchy like dash work. which is kind of why one of my favorite artists is Van Gogh, because he has a similar style.
Yeah.
I don't know, he's everyone's favorite. He's like the Beatles of art. But I like him for
Beatles of art. Oh, it's so good though. The texture and the colors is always so beautiful to look at.
I have this really funny story. I think it's funny. Other people think it's sad. I guess I don't know. No, a couple of years ago, my mom likes, when all my brothers are together, because I have a brother that lives in Portland, and me and Dominic live in different cities, and from our mom, like we all live in different areas. And so whenever we're together, she wants to do something, to make the most of it. So last time the what is it called? 3D experience, Van Gogh's 3D experience was in LA. And it's not just showing off his work. They animate the work. They do a whole weird visual component to it. And so my mom got us tickets to that. And she used to do that when we were little too. Like she would take us to, just to do things and keep us active. And so we got tickets to it, and the whole time I'm excited because I don't think I talk about it a lot, but so they didn't know that Van Gogh is one of my favorite artists. And so we get there, and it's physically overwhelming for me as an autistic person, and not in a bad way, but it was like I'm seeing the artwork, my favorite artwork of my favorite artist, but it's like being... it's moving, you know what I mean? It's they make it so you feel like you're physically in the art, and it's a very visceral experience. And so I kind of start having a meltdown. It's not a panic attack or anything. I'm just I'm overwhelmed with how much I relate to it. And so I'm having a very theatrical moment. No. And then my mom is 5 feet from me, and she's like, psst, psst, Mijo, come here. let us. I don't know. I'm giving her a thick accent. She's from here. But no, she's like, Mijo, come on. I want to take a picture for Instagram.
Oh,
she's trying to take a selfie, and I'm bawling. And I'm give me a moment. It was really funny.
Oh, that's sweet. I don't think that's sad. That's a sweet story.
But yeah, that was a funny moment between my mom. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, I also got in not fights, but didn't my teacher was a very pleasant person, very upbeat, and I would even say, I don't want to say jolly, but what's the other word? Cheerful person. But when it came to art, she had a very, strict, she was an art teacher, so she had to follow the, restraints of art. So I didn't do terribly, but I was never in the top. There was a top group of the class, and I was never in that group. And they're always, we always disagreed on that because she didn't like choices I made. And I had a very kind of almost not graffiti, but free-handed, guerrilla style way of painting and drawing. And I think that there's a lot of people that look at my art and that's how they see it. And it's I don't know. There's something about the way I do it that I do it for a reason. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, so. Exactly. That's what matters. No, my professor, so with you, I don't know if I should say the school. With that college, they allowed me to be in all of the conservatory classes, but wouldn't necessarily put me in the conservatory. And I was like, so you will let me sing. You'll teach me to sing. You'll put me on stage even in your operas. You'll put me on stage in your music theater reviews, but not good enough the program? All right, bye.
That's weird, yeah.
So I dipped, and I moved over to film, but then I had issues in film. Keep in mind, this was in the Midwest, so, there's some of that, just part of that is baked into the culture. Yeah. And so I was doing okay with film up until... I don't remember what class it was, but we were pitching our ideas for our short film. And I was obsessed with Charlie Kaufman as a screenwriter at that time. And he's so good. And so I was like, I kind of want to do, it was going to be a meta movie about myself, who's also already obsessed with Charlie Kaufman, who ends up making almost her own version of adaptation. But even though she's not adapting, she's just So about this playwright or the screenwriter. And so when I pitched this, you know, my professor was like, well, why don't you just do a Black version of it? And I was like, what? Okay. I see you. So, because I'm an a-hole, I went ahead and I made some fake dailies for class. I got people to shoot these fake dailies with me, let her see all the coonery that she wanted to see. And then for the end, I called my parents. I was like, hey, I made a completely different movie for the end of this class for my final, and I might fail because I don't know if they gonna like it. And my dad just goes, Andrea. And I was like, okay, well, that's dad. I was like, well, you do what you gotta do. My parents are so done with me by this point. Yeah. So I showed the movie, and it was, I basically took a page from André Bazin's Cahiers du Cinéma to treat film as an essay. And I basically made an essayist film about racial identity in the media and how can you identify with something without being seen as that stereotype. What is the difference between stereotypes, archetypes, all of that. Made that professor cry. Made her cry. But then, like, my favorite professor showed up. I didn't know he was gonna be there. I was like, "This is not to you. This was just to her."
Yeah.
But he was like, "No, this is great work. You should actually do something with this." Yeah. And I entered into a film festival and won. So sometimes you gotta be a butthole back, and that's one of the things that I'm actually really proud of in my life, that I actually took that risk, and it was a scary risk for me, especially being so young, being also the only Black femme person in that class, and I feel like I'm still very proud of that work, and I already have an award for it, so boom, and I made her cry. I don't always make people cry. I'm not always proud of it, but that one, yeah.
No, I get that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to remember. That reminded me of something that happened to me, but gone. I forgot my Strattera today, which is my ADHD medication.
Oh, shit.
So my brain's off a little bit.
You know, my parents also did not want me on medication.
Well, it took me a while to find medication.
That's the thing also, is like, so I didn't know I had it at this time. I was just treating my symptoms, my symptoms were really, really strong with depression and anxiety, like intense. Because, you know, there's comorbidities with ADHD. Right. And those were mine, and I was struggling. And it really came to a head during COVID. Like, I'm like, something's not right. Something is just not right. I know we're all going through it. I know, but it seems like people are doing better than me somehow. And I don't understand. I'm trying. Like, I was having a breakdown. I called my dad. I was like, there's something wrong with me. I don't know what it is. I can't focus. My brain just won't. I can't figure it out. And I'm like, I kind of feel like I have ADHD, you know, just offhand. And my dad goes, oh no, you do. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, you have ADHD, Andrea. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, we just, you know, didn't want you to have to deal with anything. We thought you could just be fine. Y'all just thought I was gonna be fine?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I am obviously not fine. How many times have I lost my military ID that you guys have given me? I have gone through so many of those, and they had like my social security number and my mom's social security number on it. Right, so I'm losing like important things already multiple times, and you thought that was just normal. You thought that was just normal.
That's funny.
Oh my God. I would randomly sing opera as a 6-year-old going in between classes, and y'all thought that was fine. Oh, that's good. I got in trouble all the time as a kid. Like all the time in school. Andrea did this. Andrea's singing this. Andrea's talking too much, and blah, 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 blah. And it took me like getting in trouble all of that times to be like, well, maybe I just don't be myself.
I mean, yeah, that's what happens.
I know, but like, it's so, I mean, and the transition was pretty clear. Like I went from being this because I'm a pretty energetic person, right, but I went from that to just, everybody thought I was like an 80-year-old person in a 10-year-old's body. Like I was just doing crosswords to try to keep myself calm and focused on something else while something else was going on.
No, yeah, I've talked about that a lot before, like not only on the show, but also it's a Spectrum and even like the old podcast that I've done where I talk about this thing, you know, there's this weird concept with neurodivergent people, specifically ADHD and autistic people, where there's kind of like a conservatism pipeline. Mm-mm. And I think that a lot of it starts with this concept I've talked about the secret rule book, where like you're constantly being condemned and ridiculed and like and punished for certain aspects of you that aren't seen as appropriate, and the way that registers in the brain is like, okay, so that makes them inappropriate, that makes them, bad. And so you suppress so much of yourself that you become this like retained conservative person.
Yeah.
And a lot, especially like people that are undiagnosed, a lot of them, fall down that pipeline of like, well, if this is the rule book, then I need to find the other people following this rule book.
Yeah.
And it can be hard, especially once they're adults, to like acknowledge like, well, no, not everyone has this rule book. This is, and it's not even like people didn't mean to make this rules for you. Like I think that's the thing that adults don't understand when they're interacting with kids with ADHD is like, even though you're not making it a rule, you're creating a cause and effect in the mind of the child. And so they're thinking that is the rule.
Yep.
And yeah.
That's rough. And like as a teacher, when I was especially working, and I realized I could see, when you see some of your students, I'm like, okay, so how do I go about this so that I don't do to them what happened to me? And like, so I didn't yell. I was just being like, okay, this one student, he's very hyperactive, so he had to be up a lot. And I was like, all I want you to do is just count how many times you get up. That's it. That's it. Just count how many times. So you get up, come back, write your number. Come, at least you're doing something. And so when we sat down at the end of the week, we looked at all of the times. I'm like, so this is a lot, right? He's like, oh yeah, it is. And I was like, now I'm not upset about it, but the only thing that it's going to affect is like maybe what you miss. You might miss something. So let's see what we can do. So we started working out ways for the student to be able to take breaks and come back into class.
Right.
So they could walk around the entire campus and come back into class. And then I would be able to catch them up with whatever we just did. And so I feel like that helped, and that made me feel better because like I was just getting yelled at all the time. Just yelled at and, called things. And I never ever wanted to do that to any of the students that I worked with. I never wanted to call them anything. I never wanted them to feel less than. I wanted at least my classroom to be a safe space for my students. And I really hope I did. I hope I did y'all well. They're all grown now, which is also weird. Oh my God. Sorry. I'm old.
No,
I just remembered. But yeah, it's interesting to be on the other side of it as an educator too, because you do see parents who are like, no, I don't want to pursue 504s. I don't want to have an IEP. And like, I also understand that side of it as well, because in this country, ableism has always been an issue. But in the education system, sometimes in certain places, if you have an IEP, you might not necessarily be given a high school diploma. You might be given just a certificate of completion. So you still have to go back and take your GED. And if those things are not explicitly told to the parents, then that ends up messing up the parents and, of course, that child's future. So I'm like, I get the hesitancy of like not having your kid identified and not pursuing services as well. Like, I mean, I get why my parents didn't do it, but also like I needed it. Specifically, I feel like I needed it. I'm doing better now, but I still have my moments like where the anxiety and the depression will come up to me. And like, since I've, really worked hard and repaired my relationship with my parents over the years, I will call them and I'm like, you're going to hear the panting and the hyperventilating because I need you to know. And they understand what's going on. My mom will be like, I need you to calm down. It's going to be okay. Granted, calming down. Tell me calm down. I'm not going to calm down. She knows that. I don't know why she still does it. But she'll be like, I don't like it when you cry. And that makes it, and I'm like, then I start to feel a little guilty, but I'm like, you're right, I shouldn't, because sometimes I freak out over nothing.
That was something I was just thinking about. Because I've definitely feel like I've reached a point where I've acknowledged, I don't remember who said it. It's a mutual of mine that said it on TikTok, but it's like, as much as we have to know where we need help and where we struggle, it's also like nobody owes anybody anything. Yeah. And so if we can't force someone to want to be there for us. Yeah. But that goes both ways. So, and that's something that I've held on to when I address people and when I address like my deficits and disabilities. Like I have sometimes I have meltdowns. Sometimes I just have regular panic attacks. But when I'm having them, where I am at now is like, okay, it's fine if you don't know how to handle me in that moment, but also that just means that I need space. Yeah. Like if I'm going to have to take the space away from it, that's fine. Yeah. But that means that you have to respect that I need that space then. Yeah. And that's become like a huge thing. Like, I don't remember where I was going with this. Brain fart. Where like I don't have rules anymore, but I have like boundaries to like I know what I need and I know like what is and is not my fault per se. Like I know there's stuff I need to work on, but I also know like the stuff that I can't help. And when it comes to stuff I can't help, like there's nothing I can do about that. like I often reference when I first started podcasting, I would brain freeze a lot. I mean, that's what I called it, but it was like, for some reason I just like wasn't capable of completing the sentence and finishing the thought. And so there'd be a lot of pauses, and my old partner would get frustrated with that, and I'd have to be like, I understand, you know, we wouldn't get into fights, but he, you know, he's venting, so he's trying to say, he's like, I just need you to know how frustrating that is. I'm like, I completely understand how frustrating it is, you know, and I want you to know that I do observe your perspective as the person that has to record and edit everything. I just need you to know, it's like, there's nothing I can do about this until, like, you know, I can only get better at it by repeatedly participating in the podcast. You know, it won't always be like this, but until it isn't, it's gonna be. And it's like, there's nothing either of us can do about that. Yeah.
And I think actually, like you're touching on something, for, at least for me, that reminds me of the reason why I went into teaching and why I went into theater is because like there were structures that were already there. Yeah. Structures that made sense, structures that I didn't have to think too hard about. And it was like, this is how this works. This is how these relationships work, blah, blah, blah. And it made sense to me. There's very specific rules for school, very specific rules for theater even. And I'm like, these things make sense to me. And that's why most of my life has been in theater and in education. Like, I mean, I know what to do as an actor, like my lines, blah, 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 blah. I know what to do if I'm a stage manager, making sure I know where everybody is at, you know, logging all of this stuff. All of the roles are very clearly defined. And when you're in a situation where things are kind of a little bit more freeform, or even more like you don't have those specific structures, you have to learn new ones. And it's difficult sometimes. It's like, I'm not sure where these lines are and what is acceptable. And I'm still figuring it out. Like you're building the plane while you're flying it kind of thing. I don't know. That's just what that reminded me of. It's, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is a thing that's helped me, but it can be frustrating having to like, I think that is like one of the more frustrating things on the neurodivergent side of that conversation is like having to figure out on our own what's like wrong and how to address it so that we can explain it to you so you finally like get on board.
Yes. But sometimes like when I'm freaking out and I'm calling my mom, I just like, I need you to know that I'm not doing okay, but I don't know how to say that I'm not doing okay. Yeah. You know, it's like hard to say those words sometimes. And she was like, girl, why are you? It's okay. Like like the most recent one. She's like, it's fine. I'm your mom. And like, I was like, oh, you are. And so that's funny. I'm like, you're right. All right. Okay. And even that, sometimes I just need that. I just need to have somebody say things are okay. And it's okay for you to reach out to me. That's honest. Like that helps me a lot. I don't have a lot of people that I do that to. It's really just my mom and my dad. That's all. Like, it's really just them. And lucky them that I call them so much. But yeah. It's been hard to try to figure out those kind of boundaries with friends, I would say for sure. Right. Especially like friends that I've known for like years. When I never call them like that ever again. I think I did once, and then they told me I was being overly sensitive, and I never called them again. Because I was like, you are not going to trivialize what I'm going through right now. We're still friends, but I don't call them for that. Like, that's not that role that they play in my life. You know what I mean?
Right. No, yeah.
So setting up those different kind of boundaries with different people it's a learning experience. It's not always a fun one.
No, yeah, that's definitely a conversation I've had like recently with friends. Like not for me, but recognize that in myself. That's something that I now can apply to like when I am talking to someone. I had a friend recently who was going something like that where they felt like betrayed by their friend and they couldn't understand it. I'm like, and that's an identical conversation we had where I was like, it just sounds like. Now that's just not what you can go to them for. Right. I don't think that there's anything specific enough for you guys to not be friends.
Exactly.
It's more just this is an acquaintance more than it is your inner circle.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. And my inner circle is small. It is little, and that keeps me. That also keeps me emotionally safe. It keeps everybody involved, like in a very safe and healthy spot. So I'm chilling with that. And I'm thankful for the friends that I do have that if I needed to, I probably could call them like that, but I'm not going to. Going
to. Well, this has been great. And I thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to shout out your? We'll add to the bio, but do you want to shout out like your users and everything?
All right, you can follow me, Andrea Riquena, AndreaRiquena, on YouTube, Instagram, my Patreon, and yeah, those are the important ones. But you can find more and with the link in my bio if you go to any of those. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So this has been Reydar. I still don't have an outward slogan. Keep your radar on. Good enough. Bye.